All right. So the plebiscite by the students, 2.6 million post-secondary students in France, where around that 310,000 international students are actually the students who come to study in France, which makes around 12% of the overall students population. And France is also number 3 in the international student enrollment. So, of course, it is the number one choice among the non-English speaking countries after the UK and after the US. And now, 9 out of 10 international students give a positive view during their time in France and recommended France as a place to study. Of course, what we are doing today is to promote French education. So even for me and Dr. Azmi, I mean, ourselves, we have been experienced with this thing, and we think that this is something that we would like to share, and we would like to give an opportunity to others to know more about studying in France and what are the things that France can offer. And this is actually slides that I have presented last few weeks on the international collaboration. So this is actually a statistic in terms of USM market. So you can see over here the international collaboration with LOI, MOA, or MOU signed give USM with a total value around 31 million ringgit. And of course, France is number 8 as the countries that have a very active collaboration with USM. And why do we need to collaborate? Of course, um, we need to collaborate in terms of certain aspects, which actually can give us some benefits. So you have informal and formal reason why do you need to collaborate. Of course, for the informal reason, it is one of the reason for seeking complementary skills and knowledge. Because when you have a collaboration with one institute, of course, in terms of the knowledge transferred and complementary skills can be shared together. Burden for doing projects will be shared. It also increase the exposure. For example, the working culture. Of course, in France, you know that people are very hardworking. So with this working culture exposed to our students, I think just it is actually a very good things that they can implement it when they come back to Malaysia. Of course, the informal reason for collaboration, you can gain access. This is actually the good thing of doing collaboration, because when you do a collaboration with one institution, of course, if you have a problem with, for example, journal subscription, instrumentation access and everything, you can actually complement that. And the other thing will be on the skills development. And when we talk about a formal collaboration, of course, what we are looking for is when you have a collaboration, we want to have a research benefits. For example, publication, a joint publication, joint or parent grants, mobility of students, mobility of staff, and etc. And apart from that, in terms of diplomacy, we can also have a MOA agreement or memorandum of understanding. And in addition, having a collaboration give a push factor for KPI, MIRA assessment, and etc. And the importance of international collaboration, of course, as I said earlier, why do we need to collaborate is because of it helps researcher to pass the parts that depends on geography, culture, and climates. Of course, when you do some study, for example, on disease, some disease is only happening, or maybe the outbreak will be happening in tropical country, like for example, Malaysia, dengue and everything. So this information can be shared together with our colleagues in France, which eventually can benefit both sides. And it allows for a more thorough interpretation of data, because when you have experts that contributing their thoughts, so the data interpretation will be more thorough, and it also allowing a richer exchange for knowledge and also expertise. So how to maintain a good collaboration? Of course, we always have to look for opportunities. So if you have, like for example, grand opening PhD, any sorts of benefits, we can try to work together and produce something that is beneficial. Of course, teamwork is essential. Without teamwork, we cannot maintain a collaboration. And of course, keeping in touch with our collaborators will maintain a collaboration. So with a regular visit, a regular attachment, regular discussion, invited talks, lectures, and everything will maintain this collaboration. And the other things that I think it is important is there is no conflict of interest. Because if you have a conflict of interest, of course, this is actually a recipe for collaboration disruption. So when we have a collaboration, we have to make sure that everything is agreed with both sides with no conflicts between one of us. And of course, the other things to maintain a collaboration is to have MOU or MOA extension. So without extension, so the collaboration just ended like that. So I'm moving on to the introduction of UL. So University de Lorraine is actually located in the city, in the region. The city is named Nancy. Okay, it is spelled like Nancy, but the pronunciation is actually Nancy. So you can see over here a very nice summary or overview for Ville de Nancy. You have a very nice view of Place Stanislas. Of course, Mirabel is one of the specialty in Nancy that you can find in Nancy. It is the type is like a cherry fruits, and you have also other things apart from Place Stanislas, and Nancy is also recognized as one of the coldest region in France. So you can see from this picture that the Place Stanislas is covered with snow. So it's very much cold. I remember during my stay, I experienced winter around -10. I guess maybe others who are staying in the States or Canada will experience even extreme than that. But for me, it's cool enough. And University de Lorraine at glance, you can see that it is actually formed in 2012 by the merger of 4 different institution or university. So the merger is actually forming like a state university. So they have like around 60,000 students, and 17.4% of that is actually international students. You can see diverse students or people in University de Lorraine. They have facilities around 54 locations in Lorraine with around 262 buildings. And they have around 60 research center with 175 patent family with around 1,809 PhD students. So University of Lorraine, the ambition is to establish strategic partnership with university having a similar profile through double diplomas or joint programs, uh, mutual recognition and validation of courses, joint lab, like for example, LIA, joint research project, joint PhD, and also joint publication. So if you look on this table, you can see that the strength of University de Lorraine, especially in the field of mining and minerals engineering. So they are actually ranked #1 in France with 24 in the world ranking. So apart from that, they are also very good in engineering, metallurgy, chemical engineering, mechanicals, and sciences. And USM-UL historical background, as I said, the collaboration between USM and UL have lasted 20 years. So it was started even in 1999. That time initiated by Dr. Nolida Muhammad and the liaison officer. And the first PhD co-tutelle candidate during that time was Professor Afida Abdul Rahim from School of Chemical Sciences. So The output for this collaboration, so far we have graduated 8 PhD candidates in different fields. 4 is actually coming from chemistry, 3 from engineering, and 1 from biology. And currently we have like 2 co-tutelle students who are currently in Nancy. One is from School of Medical Sciences and one from School of Chemical Engineering. So since 2002, we have like on average around 2 students will go for attachment every year. And 3 USM students have obtained the EU scholarship for the Erasmus Mundus program. And we also have one of our staff who have obtained a professional degree in glass blowing, which is Mr. Abdul Wahab. Mr. Abdul Wahab is already retired, but he actually obtained a professional glass blowing degree from Nancy. Of course, throughout these 20 years of collaboration, another adventure have been established. So we have a seal, a MOA for a dual master degree in 2009. So since 2012, 5 UL students have came to USM for a short attachment as part of their master's program. And other programs include joint workshops, colloquiums, USM-UL colloquium, which held every 2 years, Viva for PhD co-tutelle, postdoc, sabbatical leave, joint masters, annual research visits, and also teaching of undergraduate courses have also been taken, setting up a specialized lab, like for example, MBBS. For those who are coming from main campus, you maybe have heard about MBBS, Magma Biocrystallography, established by Prof. Nazalan and Prof. Dato' Omar Shaukat Ali. So this lab is actually with a collaboration with University Henri Poincaré, the former name for University de Lorraine. So apart from that, there's an educational talk by the French embassy. Of course, the educational talk is try to embrace or try to promote French education system. And so far, we have like more than 50 joint publication together between USM and UL. So of course, a very strong collaboration in various fields of research and academic program for the last 20 years. The collaboration like this are not built overnight. So we need a key figures that can make these things happen, and there must be a continuity. So for over 20 years or 19 years, Prof. Afida was the one who championed this collaboration. So what we are doing right now, USM-UL Center and me as the coordinator, is to make sure that the continuity of this collaboration happen. And when we have a very established collaboration, we must ensure that this partnership should grow. So when there's a trust, quality, and mutual interest, the new opportunity will arise. So during a 4th USM-UL colloquium, we have, I think, embarked to a new area. I think all the while we are being focused in chemistry, engineering, biology, but now we are trying to move further to other aspects like life, health sciences, environmental sciences. And from this colloquium, we have engaged with a new or established a new area of networking. So 19 of the delegates who came to Penang in 2017 have established or started a collaboration with their partners in USM. So the strengthening of the existing collaboration in terms of like pharmacy, chemical engineering, chemical sciences, with a new partnership in medical sciences, environmental materials, and so forth, will ensure that this partnership will continually grow. So these are the picture for the previous colloquium. Actually, we just had a recent colloquium, the 5th USM-UL colloquium last year in August. And during the visit as well, there's an agreement between the two parties to establish a center. So during the renewal of MOU, which is signed on March 2017, there's an agreement between the president of UL and the VC of USM at the time, Professor Dato Asma, to establish a platform to ensure that this partnership will continually grow. So in 2018, from the visit of President of UL, the decision of President and VC to have or to create a joint center. So we have a joint center in USM called USM University de Logan Center. It's actually hosts a different kinds of joint project, which covers on research, student exchange, joint curriculum. It also a governing board and a management committee. So, of course, when we talk about a joint center, we must to make sure that there is a good support in terms of financial and also in terms of the projects or maybe the activities. So USM-UL Center was officiated last year in August 19, 2019. So I'm the current coordinator and we have our committee. So 8 of our committee is actually coming from USM, the alumni, as well as we have like 3 non-academic people who is also the alumni. And currently they are the USM-UL Center Committee. So the function of USM-UL Center, as I mentioned, it will function as a hub for any French networking. We're also trying to promote French education, connecting researchers and facilitating attachment. So we are open daily from 10 to 4 p.m. And of course, our main partners or the stakeholders will be UL, MFUC, Malaysia France University Center, and Embassy of France, who are very supportive in terms of financial, mobility, and etc. So when we talk about financial resources, of course, the financial resources coming from the government of Malaysia, USM from international office, IPS, from grants, labs, and of course, the larger contributor will be the French embassy. And apart from that, we also have other schemes which are provided by University de Lorraine, like for example, Lorraine University d'Excellence, that can cover a PhD grants for strategic partnership. There's also other types of grant, like for example, Horizon grants, PhD mobility grants, and etc. So when we talk about financial assistance, I just want to get your attention that I think last year or even before that, 2018, during the education convention of Malaysia and France consortium, there's an agreement to form a partnering grant. So the grant is actually called as a partnership Ubed Kewal. So for Malaysia, we have this hibiscus PHC hibiscus grant. So this grant is actually a partnership grant where the entity or the authority that give the funding is actually from Ministry of Higher Education of Malaysia and also Campus France. So the grant is actually like a pairing grant. So you have one entity, like for example KPM or KPT in Malaysia, who give a granted amount to the researcher, and at the same time for the French colleague who are working in the same field or the same project with us, will be granted with amount or money from Campus France. So I guess for PhD grant, my colleagues will talk about this later. And of course, when we talk about all these things, the most important thing is to have a research attachment. So this is why we are here today. We are trying to promote research attachment for master student, PhD students, and also staff. So I think currently we have an inbound attachment and also outbound attachment. So far for the research attachment, of course, for the students or the staff, it can be like around 90 days without visa and up to 6 months with visa. And when we talk about co-tutelle, it can be more than that. I mean, because you have a minimum requirement or candidature stay in France for PhD co-tutelle, it must be 1 year. And of course, all these attachment schemes or project is being funded largely from USM or from other grants. Like for example, IPS offer this postgraduate research attachment scheme. I'm not sure whether you're aware or not, but this scheme actually will provide you, I mean, the students 4,000 ringgit, a flight ticket from Malaysia to partnering universities. So the important things to remember is when you're applying this scheme, the PGRA, you must to ensure that the host must be a partner university with USM. So UL is one of them. And apart from that, USM also offers TPLN for those who are uh, eligible to apply for TPLN. And you can also use your RUI grants, everything for mobility, for Vote 21. And of course, PHC grant also offers mobility schemes. So the student attachment in USM, I mean, from UL to USM, I think almost every year we receive students, except for this year, maybe due to coronavirus. But you can see from all this while, we are having at least one or the most maybe 3 or 4 students. And of course, students who are going from USM to UL is larger in number. So I think like every year you'll see that there's a lot of students who are going to France for short attachment, research attachment, and co-tutelle. So when we talk about PhD research in France, the system is actually for doctorate. It is actually the higher degree awarded by the university. Of course, we know about this. And the thesis actually refers to the document that you have to write and present to the jury to obtain your doctorate degree. So you have to do your doctorate under a supervision of thesis supervisor. Of course, when you do even co-tutelle, you must appoint your main supervisor in USM and also in UL. So you must have a selected a thesis supervisor who must accept you to supervise you before you start a project or your doctorate. So where to do? Of course, you can do in all university in France, as well as in most engineering, management, or even art school, which generally associated with a university. So allow me to share with you some of our program what we have done with University de Lorraine. For School of Chemical Sciences, we have offered a double master's degree, because if you look on this figure, you will see that we have masters in chemical instrumentation. So this is actually a mixed mode program, 1 year mixed mode program. So this is actually in complement with the masters in chemistry that offers in University de Lorraine. So with this complement, we think that it's good to have a joint master's degree together with UL. So the master's program at University de Lorraine, under this program, it can be considered for entry in second year, because as I mentioned, for our requirement, the student need to take a course for 1 year, and then after that, after they finish 1 year, they will fly to France, and then they will do their dissertation over there. They will do a project over there. So, which means if the student agree to do a double master program, they have to extend their studies into 2 years program. So, they will enter in semester 3 in France and carry out project in semester 4. So this must be carried out either in USM or UL. So of course, the requirement, the student must possess a minimum CGPA of 3.0 and have a presentation at conference and submit a paper for publication. And of course, for this, the cost of accommodation, food, and everything will be bear by the students. But I guess like these days with a new incentive, I guess campus funds also can offer at least accommodation or I think allowance to the students to stay. I mean, during the stay in France. Meanwhile, when we talk about a joint PhD, the program is actually a co-tutelle program. So under this program, the research will be conducted in Malaysia for 2 years and in France with a minimum of 12 months of stay. So of course, the requirement for fulfilling this co-tutelle program is, when they want to finish their PhD, they must publish one article in ISI journal to follow or to fulfill University de Lorraine graduation criteria. And for USM, of course, 2 Scopus or ISI publication. And of course, when the students do the 2 PhD degree, they will have 2 convocation, one in USM and one in UL. How good is that? I mean, you under one program you will have like 2 times convocation with 1 times of viva, only 1 thesis, and unlike the other joint degree, I guess USM-UL collaboration is one of the special collaboration which we have a common thesis, only one time viva, and but the benefits you will have like 2 PhD degree, 2 times convocation, and yeah, of course, other things. So the examination committee will comprises of French and Malaysian experts. So of course, the requirement for co-tutelle program, student must have a very good GPAs during their undergraduate or masters, good command in English. So if you know some French, it will be a good thing for you. It will be an advantage for you. And of course, when you have a publication, this will give you more opportunities to obtain scholarships. I mean, from USM fellowships or from other types of scholarships locally or from France. And for the financial assistance, so far, as I said, for the PhD co-tutelle program, it must be funded. So the minimum requirement for the student allowance to stay in France is around 1,100 or 1,200 euro. So if the student are being awarded with USM fellowship, so I think for PhD it's around 2,100 ringgit. If you convert, maybe you will get like around, I don't know, maybe plus minus 400 something euro. And it's not enough to stay in France with, if you try to survive only with USM fellowship. So there's actually a reason why we will apply this to the French embassy so that the candidate will obtain another or partial funding from Campus France, that at the end, the student will have an addition of 700 or more euros, just to make the total amount 1,200 or 1,100 euro. So the amount awarded by Campus France is only during this, the students stay in France, which normally lasted only for 1 year, not, throughout the PhD years. So apart from that, as I mentioned earlier, there's a scheme for postgraduate research attachment scheme. This is more for mobility program. Of course, for the flight tickets and everything, you can use these schemes. And I think the recent discussion between me and Professor Dato Abdul Rahman Muhammad, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Research and Innovation USM, we have agreed on certain things, that there's an initiative taken by Prof. Dato Abdul Rahman to establish RUI and short-term partnership grant. So the supervisor in USM, they can apply RUI and short-term grant with a condition that the collaborator from France is been added as the co-researcher, and at the same time, the counterpart or the collaborator in France also have their internal grant from UL, obtained from UL, which the collaborator from USM is added as the co-researcher. So for the RUI grant, the amount is maximum 50,000 ringgit, and for short term around 30,000 ringgit. Of course, other scholarship will be from KPM or KPT, Lorraine Center of Excellence, FFP, Campus France, and PAC grant. So how to start a PhD co-tutelle? Of course, the main thing before the students start, it must be initiated by the supervisor. So the supervisor must find their counterparts in Université de Lorraine who are working closely or related with the area that the supervisors are working currently. So after that, maybe you can propose or you can have a discussion, and after discussion, maybe you will have some agreement to have a student to work on this. So after that, you can plan, like the student will do some preparation in USM, and then after that to do some characterization or application in University de Lorraine. So after you have this kind of agreement, then you can propose to us, to the University Science Malaysia and University de Lorraine Center, to have or to discuss this or to propose this to the French embassy, so that first thing that we want to ensure is the financial assistance is secured, and then after that we will work on the thesis charter agreement between the two supervisors, and then after that when the semester start, the students can start the program in the early academic year. So of course, as I said earlier, the student also need to find their scholarship as well. I mean, like not totally dependent on Campus France. I mean, the students also, or the supervisor also, need to find a local scholarship just to ensure that we have another half amount added from Campus France. So in order to do so, I mean, the supervisor or the students can apply through USM fellowships, MyBrain, or other things. Okay, so of course, the one that I'm showing to you now is if the agreement have been like signed or what. So before the candidate or the student fly to France, of course, they will do their visas. Set their accommodations, buy their flight tickets and everything. So when they arrive in France, they just need to submit the visa documents and everything, and of course all other things need to be done even before they fly to France. So as I said, how to start, it should be planned even 1 year earlier. The both supervisor have the same objective and start the communication. So the short attachment will give a good exposure to the student. So for me, it would be good if the PhD co-tutelle candidate have been exposed first before they start the PhD co-tutelle. So what I mean is probably during their master's program, they can actually propose to us to have a short attachment, maybe 1 month or 3 months, something like that. So they will be attached in Mr. de Lorraine, and then they will see the facility, they will know the environment, they will know the character of their supervisors and everything before we can push them to PhD co-tutelle. So I guess some of our current PhD co-tutelle candidate have at least spent their attachment before they start their PhD co-tutelle. So find a suitable and capable candidate. Of course, this is the most important thing. Person must be independent and creative, and make a proposal to submit to both university. In parallel, the proposal will be sent for scholarship application. So as I said, for PhD co-tutelle program, the assessment will be you will have to prepare only one thesis, but in the thesis you have to like attach 3 different language abstract. Of course, the thesis will be in English. You also, I mean, the candidate also need to prepare a 20-page summary in French. And then for the assessment, there will be only one PhD defense publication requirement that need to be followed, and other requirement, because sometimes all these are actually very subjective and depends on the eco-doctoral. So in the end, you will see that this program is very much beneficial because you will have like 2 different PhD certificates, one from USM, another one from UL. You will have like 2 times graduation. Like myself, you will see that I have my graduation in USM. I also have my graduation in University de Lorraine from the Remissible Diploma, and I think convocation in USM. And just a last few slides before I end my presentation. How does it feel to study in University de Lorraine? For me, my one word explanation will be fantastic. So what I have, I think, spent during my 1 year plus in University de Lorraine was that I have like learned and actually obtained many things. Like for example, you will see that I'm actually in front of NMR. I learned various instruments during my stay in University de Lorraine. I also have the opportunity to present my work in a local conference or colloquium. And apart from that, there's also a Malaysian community. So don't feel too alien if you are in Nancy. I think so far in University de Lorraine, we have also Malaysian students who are actually the undergraduate students. They are being sponsored by GPA, MARA, or Petronas. I think so far we have like around maybe almost 20 students so far, Malaysian students. So I mean, sometimes we have a regular rencontre, regular meeting, regular ensemble gathering, and others. So with that, I guess I would like to end my presentation. Just for your information, Malaysia France University Center is located in Bukit Bintang. So I would like to promote their office. If you want to discuss more about Malaysia France collaboration, education, and everything, you can engage with these people. And yeah, please go to our Facebook page, University Science Malaysia, University de Lorraine Center, and like the page. And University de Lorraine also have their YouTube account, so you can watch their videos, how what they have achieved so far. And if you have any question, anything, you can email to us or contact us from the number shown there. So with that, thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And if you have any personal question, you can always email to me at mhh@usm.my. So thank you very much. And I think I'm welcome for any sort of question.